A lot of people do believe that the taxing in Finland, or perhaps in the whole European region, restricts people from becoming rich, or in other language we can say it keeps people poor. I'm about to share with you something which I believe is the reason of keeping the poor people poor. But before I do that, I'm gonna take you through an article, a very brief article, and then I will share my insight. So stay with me. The article says that 1 in 3 young adults are at risk of poverty, and this is according to Keller. A study finds that the at-risk rate among young people in Finland is higher than in most of other comparative countries. Nearly 30% of young adults in Finland fall below the risk of poverty threshold, according to a report by social benefit agency Keller. The report is based on international comparative study of the life circumstances of people aged between 20 and 29 in certain countries. The risk of young people falling into poverty in Finland is higher than in Sweden, the Netherlands, and Estonia, where the equivalent rate is just 15%. Only one country in the study, Denmark, fared worse than Finland in terms of young people on the poverty line. The study, which was carried out by Keller, put the at-risk of poverty threshold for a one-person household in Finland at 1,451 euros per month, meaning that 1 in 3 young people in Finland who live on their own survive on less than that amount. A study conducted by the Prime Minister's office last year found out that living alone makes it more difficult for young people to make ends meet, and that an increasing reliance on student loans or grants can lead to young people falling further into debt. However, although more young people in Finland were at greater risk of poverty, they were on average closer, which is 17%, to the threshold compared to the counterparts in other countries, which is 20%. For the purpose of the study, each country's poverty threshold was determined by the country's median income. In addition, other factors affected the at-risk rate in other countries. For example, it is more common for young people to still live with their parents in countries such as Estonia and the Netherlands than it is in Finland, meaning that the poverty risk is therefore lower in these countries. Yeah, though I think the article is pointing to some other factors. I think they are kind of missing the only factor which puts these young people in a bigger risk of poverty. And that is what I'm about to tell you. I one time read a book called Total Money Makeover, which has been written by Dave Ramsey. This is an American author, and he has discussed around the topic of debt, or in American language they would say debt. They would minus the B. Yeah, so in that book, he made this comment. He said, one of the immoral act that is committed by the financial institutions and the businesses is starting to sell things on credit to the consumers. And this immoral act has been accepted by the society. And of course, there is a technical term which they would use to decorate that. They would say they are increasing the purchasing power of people. But the people who have no idea how this is relevant to them, it is those people who are end consumers. They are not producing any income. They're not producing any income. No, they don't get additional income in correspondence to their purchasing power. Yeah, so what happens is that you, who has a certain amount of income, you are being made able to purchase the bigger chunk, the bigger stuff with more expenses, but with the more or less the same amount of income that you are getting. This is what happens. Yes, and this is more relevant, or it's more beneficial to the businesses, because with the businesses, when they give you purchasing power, that means you are getting more stuff from them, And not just more stuff, you're able now to purchase more expensive stuff. For them, it means the larger margin. It means the more the revenue. It means the bigger the profits from the businesses. But to you as the end consumer, this is only shrinking you. This is only milking you, whatever the item that you have. Because remember, the money that you get as a credit, you must pay it back. You must pay it back. And the other thing is that these financial institutions and the businesses, they clearly know about this thing. And to make sure that you know that they know, they always have this budget that in case you fail to repay this debt, then they can just simply replace it with another fund. Always, every financial institution has that fund to replace in case you don't pay it back. But until they let you go without paying it back, I tell you, my brother, my sister, you must have suffered. You must have suffered. Others, most of the time, people do pay. The interest rate are always high. Most of the people fail to pay these debts on time, and that means more benefit to these financial institutions. Yeah, and anyway, that was like part one. Part two is that it has been made very easy nowadays to purchase things on credit. You can purchase your laptop on credit, your phone on credit, expensive stuff on credit, expensive cars, expensive houses. And at the end of the day, because you are not producing any income, then you end up paying these debts on a long term, and they become part of your expenses. And once they become part of expenses, that means in every income you get, you must now split. Part has to go to your debts, and part has to still sustain you in the expenses at that very moment. So at the end of the day, a lot of people are losing control over their incomes. They are losing control over their financial status. And this is how you fall into debt. This is how you fall into debt. It's so much unfortunate. Less people are getting financial education, but access is being given to whoever. Yes, I think it would have been more relevant if people were being encouraged, first of all, to look for extra ways of generating an income. And then if you are about to generate an income, then getting a credit would be of an advantage, would be like a push up. But if you are just consuming, you are getting a credit just for some items which you can use at your own leisure, yeah, man, this will get you into debt. Yeah, will get you into debt. Anyway, soon, very soon, in the talent mindset coaching, we will also start to engage in this financial discussion to talk about these things, about debts. How do people get into debts? Yeah, and how do we get out? How do you know about these things so that you can set your priorities right? We will start engaging this discussion in the very near future. Yeah, now I'm still laying down my plans, and actually I've already started approaching some of the banks, asking if we can get any person who will come and tell us about this thing. Unfortunately, they don't want to discuss about these things because they know they might lose some customers. Yeah, but all in all, just concluding is that debt is one of the things which contributed largely into keeping people poor, because the bigger the income you get, if you have a debt, then most of your money will have to go to debt. This is no longer your decision. This is somebody else's decision that part of your income must go this way. And the remaining amount of small income, always, all of it goes into the expenses. And most of people remaining with nothing. And we all know that one of the factors which make it easy for you to have your financial growth is when you have something left over, which you can use it to invest maybe into some business or into other investments which might help you, to get something out of that. Yeah, as a result, we keep on going into the so-called rat race, as it was explained by Robert Kiyosaki in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah, so let me not talk too much, but we will meet very soon at Talent Mindset Coaching. But by the way, let's meet this Friday. This Friday, I'm going to be discussing about how can we, me and you as an international, or as internationals in Finland, how can we secure opportunities, both in job industry, but also maybe in business industry? How can we secure these opportunities in Finland, despite all the challenges that we hear about. See you on Friday. And this session is going to be actually in person, but also I always live stream on TikTok from 1:30 to 3:30 Eastern European time, EET time, or GMT plus 2, something like that, Finland's time. So see you on Friday. Bye-bye.